nearly September and I'm about to go away traveling for the next month and a half, but before I do that, I have one last task to do, and that is to draw a piece for a charity auction. Now, there is a wildlife foundation that is very well known here in the UK and abroad called the David Shepherd Wildlife Foundation, which is a really big deal to get involved with as a wildlife artist. They are the hosts of Wildlife Artist of the Year every year, but they have another massive event each year which helps raise money for the foundation. And this is a wildlife ball down in London. Now, this is a big fundraiser evening, so they have lots of things for auction like experiences, merchandise, and art. So myself and a handful of other wildlife artists from the UK are all drawing pieces specifically for this event to raise money for wildlife conservation. Now, the team at the foundation have reached out and asked me to do a particular piece for them. They really like the pieces that I started to do in my Solidarity series, where it's basically just a silhouette of an animal and the landscape around them. Now, the David Shepherd Wildlife Foundation support conservation efforts out in Africa, so it needs to be African themed, and they wanted either an elephant or a rhino. Now, the first thing that came to my mind was to have a herd of elephants silhouetted along the bottom with a gorgeous African sunset sky behind them and a bit of the African landscape. But as I go away in just a couple of days' time, I only have a day to work on this, so it needs to be fairly simple, and I better get cracking. So you may have clicked on this video because you want to learn a bit more about the art market, about how to attract wealthy buyers, and you're thinking, come on Jess, how do I do this? Well, the art market is a scary place, and there are a few different ways you can do this. You can go down the route of getting your own art agent, or you can get into different galleries, but there is another way as well, which is the path that I have chosen, and that's the way my art is heading. So, not to bore you with numbers and facts and figures, but the art market on a global scale is actually really tiny. In 2024, the entire art market across the world made $57.5 billion. And you're thinking, that's not tiny, that is an insane amount of money. But if you compare that to how much money bananas made globally, it was $130 billion. Yes, the global sales of bananas exceeded the global sales of art by more than double, which is totally bonkers. But maybe that's why there's that famous artwork of a banana taped to a wall. So there are only 3 countries that make up 82% of the entire global art market, and they are the UK, primarily London, the US, primarily New York, and China, primarily Beijing and Shanghai, which, if you think about, is mental. There's like all these countries in the world, and 3 of them take 82% of all sales of art. Now, if you wanted to go really big with your art, and I'm talking about the tens to hundreds of millions, you will need to get your work into big art auction houses and museums, which you will most likely need an agent for, as I've mentioned, but also getting into galleries and just working your way up all those galleries, because these big auction houses, such as Christie's and Sotheby's, if you've not heard of them, I recommend Googling them. You will need to really have a big name as an artist, and getting into massive art museums such as the Guggenheim Museum, they only work with a handful of particular galleries, so they'll take work from one gallery or this other gallery, such as a high-end gallery called Pace in London. So you would need to get into this gallery before you could even get into any big art museums, before you could even get into big art auctions. And that all just seems so impossible. Now, the biggest issue with art is that it's not really worth anything. It has no true value. The value of an art piece comes from what people think it's worth. So someone could look at an art piece and think it's worth about £50. Someone else could look at the same art piece and think it's worth £1,500. There is just no way of gauging how much a piece of art is worth like you would a house or a car. You can look at a car and everybody will be in agreement that it's worth about 10 grand. But it's not the same with art. The real value behind art comes from the artists themselves. To sell your art really big, an artist has to become a brand. Hence where the expression making a name for yourself comes from. If you have a name in the art world, it doesn't matter what you create. If it has your name on it and it's genuine, it will have value to collectors, which as a creative person just blows my mind, but that's how the system works. Okay, this piece is now done, ready for me to frame and send off to the wildlife ball. It has taken about a day and a half to do, I think. So I've known about this project for about 2 months and I knew the deadline was around about now, but I have been super busy with workshops and my Derwent art commission. I'm working through them all to each deadline and this is the next one. So I'm kind of to the wire and tomorrow I am flying to Tahiti. But I've done it now and I'm going to get it framed here in my studio and then I've got to package it and get it shipped today. It's been a bit manic, but I've done it and they will get it on time. I never miss a deadline. I try not to. But yeah, I'm quite happy with how it's looking. I like these colours. I've been using the new Derwent drawing pencils that I designed the tin for, because why not? I have them and they're lovely. And they're great for blending, which is what I needed for this sky. And I quite like this little family down here. So hopefully it will raise a lot of money for the foundation at the auction. I really love it now it's in this frame actually. I bought this frame from my framer a few months ago now and it's just been sat around in my studio waiting for an art piece to go into it. And then I quickly ordered the mount to go with it yesterday and picked that up today from my framer. And I really like this mount because it's white and it's slightly textured with that black core to give it a little bit of a black edging to it, which accentuates the elephants and ties it all in with the frame. So I'm going to get this bubble wrapped and packaged and send it off. It's now a couple of months later and I'm about to head off to London for the David Shepherd Wildlife Foundation ball, where my art and a load of other art from literally some of the UK's elite wildlife artists will be on display for guests there to view in person, but also people can bid online as well. So the auction's been open for a couple of days now already and there are a few bids coming in for some of the pieces, but most haven't had bids on yet, so this evening is going to go crazy. This is my third time at this event and donating my art to it, and it is a very fancy event and definitely a perk of the job and not something I ever thought I would do as an artist, but it's just one of those things that I love about my job. I just never know where it's going to take me, and today it is taking me to the fancy Dorchester Hotel in London. I'm also going away for the weekend straight after this, so I'm stopping over in London tonight, and then tomorrow morning I am driving over to the border of Wales for a weekend away, which is totally opposite end of the country, so I have to take extra clothes with me, so a little bit more luggage to take, but hey ho. Maybe I should be taking a suitcase. I don't know how I'm going to fit everything in here. Okay, we're done. So yes, I've spoken about a few different ways that art gets valued and how it comes to be worth so much money, but you're thinking, but how do I get there? You said there was another way, and there is. Have you ever wondered why buyers and collectors of art will spend millions of pounds on a piece of art only to donate it to a gallery or a museum? You think, why don't they just have it on their wall if they spent all this money on it? And that is because if they buy a piece of art and donate it to a non-profit museum or art gallery, then it can become tax deductible. Meaning, if they have spent £5 million on a piece of art and donated it, that's £5 million of untaxable income. So I've made it to London. I've met up with artist Sarah Stribling, and we're currently getting ready for the Wildlife Ball. We're about to leave and book our Uber and then head over there now. We're just doing a few last minute beautifying bits and then we'll be going. If a collector buys a piece of art at a charity auction and that money goes directly to the charity, that can also be non-taxable income. Hence why some buyers will bid on a piece of art, win it, take it home, and the next year they will donate it back to that charity auction, only to rebid on it at a higher price and win it back again. Now, this isn't always the case, and it's more common in auctions where pieces are going for millions of pounds rather than just a few thousand, because when you're in the few thousands, you do get genuine buyers who love the art and want to actually keep it and have it on their wall, which personally, as an artist, I prefer, rather than buying it and then just putting it in storage somewhere. Yes, it would be amazing to have my work sell for millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions, but then it wouldn't be appreciated like I want it to be. I'd much rather have it in the bracket where people can still afford it and actually love to have it on their wall, and it really means something to them. And that's why I come to events like this charity auction. I'm here to support conservation because it's very, very dear to my heart, but it also gets my work in front of a high-end audience, meaning it adds value to my art and to my name as a brand. So the more I do these kind of events and get my name out there, the more trustworthy my name as an artist becomes.
$5,000 is on my right, 5,000, 6,000 now, 6,000 something, 5,000, 5,000. We should be having a look to this, ladies and gentlemen. 12,500, 12,500 right here, £12,500.
Now, it takes a while to get there, and you have to establish and build relationships with these different charities, and also cherry pick a little bit, because obviously it's got to benefit you as an artist, it's got to benefit the charity, and then benefit the buyer, because then they're getting a really nice piece of art to go home with. But to be honest, above all, these events are just so much fun to be a part of, and something I never saw in my future or never even knew existed when I first became an artist.
The David Shepherd Wildlife Foundation is one I have supported with all my heart, and I'm very pleased to be able to continue his brilliant legacy. Tonight is about creating a future today that ensures a brighter one for wildlife tomorrow.
I'm back home and it's about a week after the ball now, and the final figures of how much was raised has come in. So there was a little bit of a bidding war on my piece at the end, and the hammer price was £1,250, which I was really, really happy about. And the final amount that was raised for the entire evening was £170,000, which is insane. And it felt such a privilege to be part of an event like that and be part of something that raises so much money for conservation too. Now, I have since heard from the buyer of my piece telling me how much he loves it, and it really resonated with him and he's excited to have it in his house, which is so lovely to hear. And again, to me, that means so much more than having it sell for millions to somebody who doesn't really care for it so much. It's more about money and using it as a token rather than seeing it as an artwork. So I hope that's giving you some ideas on how to get your art out there in front of collectors and buyers. You just have to get out there and start making connections. Don't wait for people to come to you, because you will be waiting a long, long time and it might never happen. Pick and choose things that you're passionate about. Contact charities, see if they've got any big events coming up, see if they're happy for you to donate art. Just make sure that you're not doing it too much, because then you're just creating art for free constantly. And it doesn't matter if you start at small village events and just work your way up that way. That's exactly what I did. And now I donate to about 3 or 4 conservation events per year. So I hope that was of some help to you. Good luck and get on out there. And I'll see you next time. Bye for now. And I am about to go away traveling for the next. But before I do that, I have one fluff. I have one Alaska tusk with a gorgeous hello. Hello, doggies. Can I film my video?